I am Tim Probert. I'm an illustrator, the author of Lightfall. I live in New York, in the U.S. And before Lightfall, and actually still now, I work in animation as well. So I'm an art director at an animation studio in New York, where I design characters and do storyboards and paint different designs for different animated projects. And in addition to that, I've illustrated some other books in America that other authors have written, like chapter books and things, book covers, stuff like that. So yeah, illustrator and designer. Yeah. So the animation is wonderful, and it has so many good things and positive qualities. But there's something about working on a comic that's very pure and sort of simple. Of your idea goes right onto the page without any extra steps sort of in there. So it feels like just a very direct way to tell the story. I can sit down and just draw it and write it, and then it's the book. Whereas animation, there's so many more phases and people involved and things, and it requires a much bigger team and a much bigger budget and all these things. Whereas a book, I can just make it mostly by myself with the help of my editors and designers and things. Yeah, I read. I try to. I've been a little busy, so I've been a little behind on my reading, but I do like to read the comics as well. Yeah. I think it influences it in a bunch of ways. I think especially in the drawing of poses and stuff. In animation, you're always drawing very lively, dynamic poses, and I think that helps translate into the comic. Also, I do a lot of storyboards in animation, so just very rough, very loose drawings as we start the project, and it's drawings that sometimes you just throw them out and you start over. And I think that has helped me in the comic of when I start doing the early thumbnails to just work really fast and try out different ideas and throw away the ones that don't work. So that's a skill that is definitely translated from animation. I've not been here before. So when I did the drawing, because the book did win a bunch of prizes, which was crazy. and yeah, winning here last year and then being able to come has been really wonderful. But so I hadn't been here, and I went to do the poster, and I just researched and looked at pictures and things, and kind of did a fantastical version of what I imagined the city was like. And coming here, I feel like I was pretty close, but it almost doesn't compare. The city's like even more magical than I expected. So I hope I did it justice in my drawing. So the first book took me 2 years to make. The second book took about a year and a half, which was too short. Because they're pretty long books, and since I'm working in animation, I have a full-time job, and then I do the books mostly in the morning and on the weekends. Yeah, so
Okay.
Busy. So I've always had a general ending in mind, and sort of certain moments or ideas that I think will happen in the story, but it's not completely planned out. And even as I write each book, I write an outline, a very loose outline of where I think it's going to go, and then as I'm working on it, it always changes, and I usually changes in ways I don't expect, and it kind of gets to a place just naturally through edits and rewriting and reworking it. So I never really know exactly where it's going to go, and I just hope that we get there in one piece. So I'm working on the third now, and there will be a fourth. And then, depending on how the story works out, there might be one or two after that. Probably no more than 6, but at least 4. So I'm gonna see how it works out. Yeah, it seems like it's doing pretty well. The response here in France has been great, and in the U.S. as well. And it's being translated into some other languages as well. It's in Norwegian and Spanish and Italian. And I think there might be a German one coming, which is pretty crazy. Oh, who would I choose and why? So one of my favorite comics is Hayao Miyazaki's Nausicaa manga, the full 1,200-page comic. And yeah, I would like to go into his head as he was working on that, and see how he was reacting as the story evolved over, because he worked on it for so long, and how his feelings about it changed as he was working on it would be very interesting, I feel like. Yeah.